I look at it this way. It's very powerful when you're going through cancer, having a positive family, the power of the prayer, and God, and and plus the positive attitude. All those things mean so much, that gets you through life.
We must have a high tolerance for chaos. Learn to embrace the flow.
Forgive all that we can't forget. Regret nothing we can't let go. For despite what we have learned, infinitely more we do not know.
So let us tune our frequencies
Until new vibrations grow. Let's pretend that it never ends.
And now, it's time to start the show.
So I'm here with Bruce and Linda Hill, and why don't we just start by you telling me your story. So like from the beginning, the diagnosis and how all of that just started.
Well, it started for me probably beginning of November of 2015. I started having pains in my stomach, and it went from pains in my stomach for a while. I thought pains would go away, but it didn't go away. And then I told Linda, my wife, that I have pains I've had for a while. And then we went to the doctors, and then through the doctor we had up in Hackettstown, basically you go for tests, could be a CAT scan, whatever. And then eventually, by December of that year, I found out I had pancreatic cancer, like that. And then from there, my surgeon that we had said that he looked over everything, and it was a tip of the pancreas. And then he was saying that it didn't spread to any other part of your body. He says we're going to take our time. We're going to make sure we get everything.
Right.
And he was right on. He got everything, and then I was in the hospital for about 8 days. And then when I came home, I was scheduled for starting beginning of February, 6 months of chemo and 28 days of radiation. And
so go back for a second. What was your initial reaction when they say, well, you have pancreatic cancer? How did you process that?
Well, very easy.
I'm sorry, I don't want to
And
interrupt.
you guys
I
can-
think
yeah.
I was the one that really
told
him, because we went, first we were told, it could be an ulcer, or it could be, I don't know what the other thing was, something with the appendix. And so that, when he had the CAT scan, then it led to the endoscopy, and they said, it'll take... There's definitely something there. It'll take a few days to find out what it is.
Right.
And the gastro specialist who did the endoscopy came right in, and he was still kind of half out of it. And he just walked in the room, and he said, this is a malignant tumor pancreas.
He said it to you.
Just like that. Just came right out and said it.
So what was your reaction?
I just stood there. I was numb.
Yeah.
I was stunned. And then I said, can I speak to you in the hall? And I thought, he's half out, he's still groggy, and you're coming out and saying this.
Yeah.
Just like, I thought the surgeon, I had seen him from a distance on the phone, and I thought, this can't be good. He must be talking to the other doctor.
Right.
And then he just said in the hall, you need to go see Dr. Schrager. He's the surgeon. He said, you need to see Dr. Schrager as soon as possible. He's expecting you to call him later. But it was like just numb. And then I'm texting, the family, and I just said the news is not good. And then, when he came through, that's when I told him. I just said, well, it's not good. He said it's malignant. We have to go see Dr. Schrager.
We should also add that this is after
my kidney surgery,
right?
My cancer surgery.
Yeah.
You had the cancer surgery.
Exactly
You had the
a year
kidney
later.
removed, and,
Yeah.
and so you just had gone through all
The
that.
tumor. My mother had just died.
Yeah.
And then, exactly a year later,
Yeah.
almost to the day.
And then you get this.
I was diagnosed in November. He's diagnosed in November. I was operated on the beginning of January. He's operated on the end of January.
Unbelievable.
And I remember the first words Linda said, my wife said, that I'm not going to be here for my grandchildren. I said, it hurt. It just like somebody ripped my heart
I
out of me.
remember that.
Oh yes, you did. And I said, well, we're gonna get through this together. There's no way you're gonna make it. And I think I said, you have to be as positive you can.
Yes.
Because you'll be here with your grandchildren and family. Because you do it for your family and your grandchildren.
Right.
And
He was always positive, though. I mean, some people think, well, how can he be? My sister said to me at one point, well, is he really that positive, or is he just doing that?
Or you're just putting on.
Yeah. And I had mentioned that to Doug, and Doug said, there's not a phony bone. In Bruce's body.
Yeah.
No.
He does, and it's true. Even with me, when I first told him, it was always, well, okay, what do we do now? And that's been his attitude right along.
And that was your attitude when you first heard?
well, what happened with me when I found out everything, and I've always had a positive attitude. It doesn't start yesterday. It's been all my life. And when the doctor told me didn't spread to any other part of your body, any other major parts of your body, and then some people may think I'm crazy to say this. Then I started getting excited about the operation. What I meant about getting excited, I'm going to get this poison, I call it,
Okay.
out of my body.
Right.
And it's like a new beginning of
Yeah.
life. That's how I felt.
So already you're looking at it
Oh,
from glasses half full.
That's right.
Of rather
Even-
like, oh, God forbid if they don't mess it
where
up.
I
to
was
eat.
the opposite. But
Yeah.
even the day of the surgery,
I was excited.
and we're in the room with his brother and his wife, my sister-in-law and brother-in-law, and they even said to me they never saw somebody getting ready. I mean, we knew it was major surgery.
Yeah.
We knew they were going to remove a couple organs. We didn't know how many they'd remove.
Yeah, what did they... Because I remember...
Part of the pancreas, which they said regenerates. They removed the appendix because it was enlarged. And they removed the gallbladder because there were gallstones. They removed the spleen because it shares the same blood supply as the pancreas. And they removed the part of the small intestine because that had cancer on it.
Right.
So they would keep, it took 8 hours because they would remove something and keep sending it to pathology to be checked.
Okay.
And they wouldn't stop until it was clear. Because
Right.
we didn't know. We're sitting there, wondering, why is this taking so long? But then he said, when the surgery came out, I'll never forget, it was like 10 o'clock at night at that point, and told us all he did. And he said, I wasn't going to leave until we got all the cancer out of him.
Yeah.
That's good to hear.
And I said, is there reason to be optimistic? I remember saying that to him, and he said yes. And then it was, you wait for days, and you get the full pathology report back on 23 lymph nodes that they removed, all of the organs, and the surgeon comes in. I remember Chris was with me that day, and he said, I just have great news. Everything, is negative.
And
we
one
were
would...
just thrilled.
Right, well, one would guess that had a lot to do with your attitude going into it.
Exactly. Even the day, that Monday, I woke up knowing that I'm going to be operated on, knowing I don't know how long it would be, but I woke up like on another day, positive, excited, and I was excited about the operation, and it's part of my who I am.
Right.
I can't change who I am.
Yeah.
I am as positive you can be. I take everything positive. If I get sick with the chemo, I say, if I get sick. I said, that's the poison leaving my body.
I
Right.
told the nurses
You
that.
know, and-
Instead of
You know,
putting
complaining,
on-
oh
yeah.
my God, this or that. No, I
And the
refuse.
radiation.
The
He would
radiation.
say, "Oh, that it's making me feel better." We hear people say the opposite.
Right.
Yeah,
How
after
sick it makes them.
after it was 28 days after my 14th treatment. So I like talking to the nurses, you know, I tell them about my treatment. I'm doing very well, you know, like that. And I said to her, because every Wednesday we meet with the doctor, and I said to her, I says, I don't know if you've heard this from any other patient. It seems like this radiation is making me stronger, you know, like that. And she says, you know, she says, I worked in just about all the major hospitals in New York City, you know, in the emergency room. She's, I've done it, the head nurse, the head everything. But she says, you're inspiring. You know, he says, it makes us excited about coming to work. He says, we have it the opposite way.
Yeah.
He says, we don't hear good things from radiation. It's
Right.
always bad. The people don't look good, whatever they were telling me. I said, no, I said, this is who I am. And I said, you know, she says, it's wonderful. And she says, you need to tell everybody your story. It's
Yeah.
inspiring.
Right, because somebody else that's in that situation, if they could
Exactly.
just change their thinking around it.
Mm-hmm.
And he tends to do that when we're at chemo. You know,
What do
he
you
could
mean?
be walking. Well, the chemo room, we go to chemo every other week,
Mhm.
and it's a huge room, and you get to know everybody after a while.
Yeah.
And I mean, if he is sitting next to somebody that he can give support to, he's there. If he's walking to the bathroom with all his poles attached, he'll stop to talk to people. And the last time the head nurse came out, she says, every time I hear Bruce's voice, I know he's cheering somebody up.
Oh, see?
Yeah,
That's
that's just
what-
who I
that's
am.
during chemo.
You know, and I guess it all started. I mean, my mother, you know, she was a wonderful lady, and she taught me one of the most important things in my life growing up. And I remember when it was 7 years old.
Okay.
He says, when you leave the house, you go to school, whatever you do, he says, try to do something good for people. Do a good deed, she would say, you know, like that. She said, could be just walking down the street and saying good morning, how are you doing? Or if you see, I have done many a times over the years, I see somebody, I'm walking up the street, somebody is in a wheelchair, is at the corner, walking across the street, and I go over, you know, nicely, and I says, can I help you go across?
Right.
You know, it's just who I am.
And you just internalized that from a very young
At a
age.
young
I
age.
think there is also, whether he realizes it or not, a sense of resiliency in his family, because he's one of 5 boys, and he's the youngest, and he was 3 years old when his father died suddenly of a heart attack at work.
Oh, man.
And his mother never remarried. She just went out and did other jobs and, you know, to take care of the family. And I've noticed that with his brothers, you know, he has one brother who passed from cancer who worked up until the end.
Okay.
2 others who were cancer survivors who refused to give up. I've noticed from them too that I guess it's from their mother or just losing their father and carrying on, and everybody does, you know,
Yeah.
Help each other
goes
out.
on.
Right.
Yep.
So I think that has a lot to do with it too, how he was brought up.
And the idea that when you're putting out that positivity for others, then you're getting that back.
Yeah, exactly.
In
100%.
in terms of how you're feeling and dealing with this and being able to keep that attitude. It's just the reciprocation.
That's right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah,
true.
you get 100% better through
When,
that. You know, and I've noticed all over my years of growing up and all like that, being a volunteer fireman at one time, so that this word is very strong, and is when people, you do something nice, when people say thank you, it's so powerful.
Yes.
For me.
Yes.
You know, it's a powerful word that I think maybe some people don't think about like that, but I do.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like even when I'm volunteering, you know, like that, people thank you. You know what you do. We could be at at the cancer center, and people come over and say thank you for what you do.
Mm-hmm.
It's powerful.
That keeps you going.
It keeps
right?
me going.
Mhm.
You know.
Whenever we
It's a
meet with
powerful
the
word.
oncologist, which
Sure.
is about
Oh, yeah.
every other week, he'll Bruce will ask the doctor how he is.
How's your how you
Doctor
feel?
always smiles. We'll
Yeah.
say, I'm supposed to be asking you that.
Mm-hmm.
No, it's just. It's
And then
just,
he told
this is
him
who
when
you are.
we found it, then when it was found in his stomach after being cancer free for a year. You
Yeah,
know,
so let's go
Oh,
back
I'm
to that
sorry.
timeline. So you had the surgery.
6
and-
months of chemo, and radiation. That was considered preventative because they said it's such a bad cancer with such a high rate of return and such a high death rate that they said you can't leave anything to chance. Where
Sure.
I didn't need chemo, he did. And they did the 6 months of chemo, and we were thrilled when it ended. You know, rang the bell. He was still cancer free and everything. And then, just like I have regular CAT scans, he had a regular CAT scan. And then they found at one point, June, right, a 4 centimeter.
Yeah, it doubles.
Right.
Its tumor doubles.
Oh no! First it was 2 centimeters.
2 centimeters in that.
The doctor called at night, and it was like the one time I wasn't concerned about a CAT scan. I'm usually always concerned about mine and his, but I thought he looks good, he feels good, he works out all the time, he's eating right, everything's going to be fine.
Don't let your guard down.
Yes, you learn that, and that it's a
True.
roller coaster.
Yeah.
It's
Roller coaster.
trite, but it's true.
This was last June.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
the doctor calls at night and says, that they found a 2 centimeter malignant stage 4 mass in his stomach.
And so what was the procedure for that?
He back on strong chemo. The chemo now is geared to the specific body part. So the last time it was the pancreas and that area. So this time now it's a different type of chemo that's geared more for the stomach.
They can't do surgery
Right.
for that?
No,
for
we
this?
had asked. He said it was inoperable.
Okay.
And I mean, that was, I think that was probably my lowest point because we didn't expect it. And as soon as you hear malignant stage 4,
Yeah.
I mean, I was on the phone. No, but first I texted again, and I even said, please don't call me, I can't talk. And everybody started calling.
Sure.
And I think everybody felt the same way. Like, well, we know how bad this cancer is. This is it.
Yeah.
And then we go to the doctor, and even the doctor said, I want so much to help you. You're such a nice guy. And Bruce said, oh, you are helping me. You're going to make it better.
Yeah, but see, the way I look at if it's stage 3, if it's stage 4, it's just a number. It doesn't matter to me at all.
Okay.
It's who you are inside.
Yes.
I'm gonna say to myself. I say to myself plenty of times, this cancer isn't going to kill me. I'm going to beat it. I refuse to give up.
Right.
So my attitude when I heard it was stage 4, okay, to me it's just another number. I mean, it's terrible.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong.
Right.
It's terrible. I hate to hear from anybody. But it's just who I am. Like I said, it's just who I am, and I can't put that down. I can't make me. I'm going to give up. I refuse.
But then it doubled.
And then it
And
doubled.
it went to, at the next CAT scan, it was 4 centimeters. We had a PET scan a couple weeks ago, and then it went down to 1.5.
Yes.
That's right.
The
I remember
doctor
that, yeah.
said was miraculous.
And
that-
not that correlation is causation, but that was right after you had the quantum healing with Nikki.
Yeah, the day after.
The day
he
after
had
you had the CAT scan.
Yeah, isn't
And
it?
you
Isn't
know,
that amazing?
it gives you pause.
Well, yeah, sure,
And I
absolutely.
thought you can't say, oh, because he had this, but it is a healing.
Healing.
Yes.
What's the word?
Modality is the word
Yeah,
she uses.
a healing modality.
Well, let me come back to that because that's like a separate topic. I wanted to ask you, how do you feel on a regular basis? Like, you're physically?
Oh, physically, I feel great. I I tell people, I feel that I'm walking around with no cancer in my body.
Now, are other people in your situation, are they feeling the same way, or is it?
Some cases, if they've been cancer free for 3-4 years, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But if they're, I don't know what they're really feeling. If it's just like, less than a year or a couple of years, like would be 2 years in January for me.
Right.
Like that. I don't know. I wouldn't understand how those people
Yeah, like the
think.
people in our group, that WHO group we belong to, there are survivors.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
One is 4 years, one's 6, an older man is 11.
Oh.
But they also don't have cancer in them now. I mean, they go for the regular scans.
Yeah.
So, like, they all tell me, because everyone in the group has had experience. Either they have had it or a loved one had. Most of them have lost people.
Now, are you technically considered a survivor?
They said that
Yes.
we wondered that too, being there's still a
Being still there, but I mean,
It's
I would
still
call you.
there.
I would call you a
They
survivor
said-
based on.
they said you are considered a survivor from the day you're diagnosed onward.
Gotcha.
Even if you still have it,
Right.
if you're living, you're a survivor.
Sure,
Right,
right, exactly.
Now,
yeah.
he considers himself a survivor, but considering that he still has this, it's almost like he says that he doesn't feel like it's there.
What's your daily routine? What are some of the things that you do to keep yourself active or to keep that positive attitude?
Well, I'll go get up and thank God that I'm here another day. Thank God I have a wonderful wife and a wonderful family, the support group at Wage Hope. All those people are there's the best. I think I do anything to help them people. They're just beautiful people. They care, and this is what's wonderful about the organization that we volunteer with. They're just wonderful, caring people. I mean, just the organization itself. When I came home on January 16th after 8 days in the hospital, I was in a lot of pain. We didn't know much about pancreatic cancer at all.
Right.
So we they emailed the organization. They call. I mean, I don't know how long it was. Maybe a month or two. They would call once a
From
week.
California.
From
the
California.
main
Wow,
office.
okay.
To see how you're doing, how you're feeling, and everything. Is there anything we can do? They said, when you get your appetite back, we got books. We'll send you all the information. The food that you should eat. That's going to help you survive.
That's real quick, because I want to ask, when you had the surgery, how's that changed your eating lifestyle and all that?
Well, there's plenty. Basically, before, I used to eat a lot of dairy, ice cream, a lot of cakes, diet soda, regular soda, Snapple, all that stuff now. I don't know how long I can't tell you how long was the last time I had a soda.
Right.
Like that. It's maybe within this 2 years, I might have had maybe 2 cans of soda, but I don't miss it at all.
Right. Right.
I look at it, all that stuff over the years, I was sort of like a sugar addict.
Well, that's what I was going to say. I mean, all the research is showing that all of these diseases and conditions can be traced back to too much sugar that causes inflammation.
The
The
Inflammation, yes.
Right.
And all the fat that I used to go to McDonald's or Burger King, any of those fast food places, think nothing of it, having a couple Macs and fries and diet soda. That was like normal.
Yeah. Were you ever a smoker?
No.
So wow. So no smoking, and I guess not a drinker either.
Not a drinker, no drugs, no marijuana, none of the major drugs, And I think that was part of me, the way who I am today, that I could survive a major operation, because a couple times the nurses came out and said to the family, says, "This man is so strong." He says, it's amazing,
Right.
how strong the man is. And I really think over the years of working outside, going to the gym, I might have had too much diet soda and all the junk food, the potato chips, all that stuff that we all like.
Yeah.
Now you have your choice. Either stop it or your cancer may come back, and with all that bad stuff you do, you might not have a second chance.
Right.
I don't know. That's just my guess.
Right.
So it's, I have once in a while, a piece of cake here and there, or ice cream, but I make sure I try to have like yogurt.
Yeah. So this whole time you were eating that way and taking those things in, you were also doing things that maybe helped combat it in a way, sort of balance it out in a bit. But then the tipping point came.
The tipping point.
Eventually it catches up to you.
For years,
exactly.
I tried to get him to stop drinking.
Your mother.
The sweets, I think it was more when he was pet sitting, because I never kept a lot in the house, because I've always been careful. But for years, even when my parents were alive, they used to say he's got to stop drinking, the diet soda and the diet Snapple.
Well, they're connecting the
And
diet soda
he-
especially.
all the time. I mean, I'd be in bed and I could hear the can,
Yeah,
open
10
because
o'clock at
it
night.
would be, all day long.
Right.
And then he just stopped.
And it's funny too. We were talking about what I used to do for about the last 18 years, professional pet sitters. And there's times I'm out at 5 o'clock in the morning to 9, 10 o'clock at night, 7 days a week. But first thing in the morning, what people would do is drink a cup of coffee or have a glass of orange juice, whatever.
Yeah.
I would go, if I'm going to someone's house, right, I would have a can of diet Snapple with me.
Right.
Right? Or if I can't get Snapple, I'll have a diet soda. So over the years, it's like you don't realize that there's times that, you're not hungry, but something takes you, say, I gotta go to Dunkin' Donuts.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And I'll have a couple cream donuts or whatever.
Yeah, because
So all
that's your
that
brain is
sugar.
programmed for that reward system. The sugar
Right.
is, gives you that reward, and then
That's
you get
right.
addicted to it.
And people said, well, why don't you like drinking water? Well, I looked at it over the years. With the sugar, I was like a sugar addict, I would say.
You always
Yeah.
tried to get in.
The only time I would drink water would be, going to the gym. That's the only time I
Wow.
would basically drink water. But basically it's Snapple, diet soda,
Yeah.
you name it.
No,
Yeah.
But then as important as diet is, and it is, it's very important. I read everything I can on nutrition related
Sure.
to cancer now. But it's not, like a couple nutritionists and the radiation oncologist said, that's not everything. You can't, like the radiation oncologist said to me the one time I was in there, because I said, should we, be on a vegetarian diet? And he said, even vegetarians get cancer.
Yeah,
It's
sure.
like there's so much.
Well, and
chemicals and everything
There's
else.
chemicals.
in
Yeah,
the
they put
air,
chemicals in the air, the
environment,
foods, even the
food-
tap
right.
water. You don't
Yeah,
know.
yeah.
It's
So-
inescapable. Which goes
so-
back into, your attitude.
Yes.
And I mean, I'm of the belief that everything is energy, and so it's what energy if you accept negative energy into you, that's going to affect you.
Yes.
If you're putting out positive energy, it's not just hard science and physical stuff. It has to do with your mental state
Yes.
as well.
Oh, yeah.
Remember Mike Dooley?
Of
We
course,
went
yeah,
years
Mike
ago,
Dooley.
You are, what was that saying? You are what you think.
You are what you think. Thoughts
Something
become
like that.
things.
Thoughts become things.
Thoughts become things.
I used to tell my kids that in school. Thoughts become things.
Now, that being said, it doesn't mean that if you're always positive, right? Like you said, your whole
you're
life
not-
you've been that way. You're still going to get something. I mean,
Right.
we're here in this life to
Definitely.
learn
Yeah.
lessons and to face these challenges. And
That's what it is.
clearly,
Lessons.
this was something for you to face. It's
Right.
opened up a whole new world for you. It
Well,
seems.
That's
even
true.
that's very true, because I look at it, maybe in a way, I don't know if it's right to say, but in a way, maybe I was meant to have what I have today.
Right.
To like the one nurse, the head nurse, said that you have a wonderful story to tell people.
Yes.
Like that. And I've had people over these last 2 years said, "What do you like talking about cancer for?" I says, don't you want to be, like leave it alone? I says, no. I says, I want to tell people, because if somebody hears that they just got pancreatic cancer, and I don't care if it's any cancer, right? If I can help somebody, if you might be down and scared, and you're sure you're scared, and you may die, you might think all those things are going in your mind.
Sure.
But if you have someone like myself come along, that could be the difference, changing you thinking that way into a positive. That could change your way of living or dying.
Right. And so this cancer in a way has made you an agent for that
I
good.
think
Exactly.
it's done that for both of us.
For
I
both.
think it's opened up, like something you never expected.
Right.
I mean, you work all, your life, 30 years for me, teaching and raising kids, and you think, okay, that's it. I've done something good with my
Right.
life.
Now I can
I
sit back and
always
relax.
thought that. Well,
Yeah, you're lucky.
I've raised 3 great kids, and I've taught hundreds along the way, And then this happens, and you think, oh my God, this is terrible. And then it opens up all these other things.
Yes.
Right.
Like what we're doing to help people. I mean, I'm on the Pancreatic Cancer Action Network, listing for a caregiver over the phone. And I've talked to people even in India.
Oh, wow.
I can't give medical advice, but like just for support.
Sure.
And it's like stories similar, to Bruce, and they just want to talk. And I feel that's something I would have never done. We would have never gone to the Capitol to advocate for cancer if this didn't hit us.
Yeah.
Or the, Purple Stride and just reaching out to people. He would not be meditating, doing yoga, I'm sure.
No.
If he weren't.
Oh, tell me about that a little bit. So
Oh,
you're,
my God. I mean, I guess in a way, over the years, I probably didn't realize that, that I was meditating.
Meditating.
Oh, so you
Meditating.
were? It was you were doing it. You just didn't know
I
that
didn't
that's what it
realize
was.
that.
because when
Because he's always
everything
outside.
happened to me, for these last, I'd say, 2 months that I started with where I get my chemo. They have a lady there that have classes you could take. It's part of the healing part.
Sure.
And yoga, and I have to tell you, that has helped me so many 100%. I really feel, and more you think about it, the way she says, when you're doing the yoga, what all the stretches and it's all in your mind and thinking and like that, it's making your body stronger.
It is.
Like that. The meditation is the same thing. I mean, there's thoughts I never thought I knew in my life coming through, and that's what she was saying. That's all a part of your healing.
Absolutely.
It's important for everyone, but she said, she didn't tell me, but in a way, it's more important for cancer survivors.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
But this lady, she just has that wonderful way of telling things. Your eyes are closed, and she's saying things, and it just, things come through your mind, and different things. And now even we do meditation while our eyes are open. There's things, you can be walking outside. She was saying that we did yesterday outside. It was only for about 10 minutes, the last 10 minutes. And, you breathe in, you breathe through your nose, and, and she says you just see things, and you feel the air roll through your face and your body, and all the different sounds and birds and
Just
cars
becoming
in the
aware
background. Aware and all this.
Dissolving into the moment instead of just your thoughts over here or in the
Right.
future,
That's
the
what
past.
he does very easily.
Yeah.
It's like she can do it, like even when he's having chemo, yoga nidra, I think it's called. I put it on my phone.
Yeah, nitrous.
So she does it for both of us.
Okay.
And even there, with all the noise going on in the room, he has these experiences where he's seeing shapes or colors. And the first time he said it, I thought he was joking, really. I looked at him like, what do you mean you're seeing colors? And now it's all the time, where I'm thinking, I'm so distracted because I'm hearing what's going on in the next chair. I'm hearing and he has this ability to just tune it out.
Or is it tuning it out, or is it just taking it all in as one? I mean,
Yeah, it could be a little bit of both.
I wish I know.
I
said, even with the colors and the shapes, I keep asking the girl there, well, what does this mean?
But yesterday, I had was Friday. I went down to the pump out, and we had yoga. No, meditation. I'm sorry, meditation. It's at 12:30, 1:30, and we're going through. The first 3 minutes, and then next one's like 5 minutes, and then within that 5 minutes, first thing that's ever happened to me, I was thinking, and this thing came to me. It looked like my heart. It's just like, you ever see a person that has their heart up and all the veins?
Yeah.
It just looked like the shape of a heart, your heart,
Right.
but it was all veins, and it was red. Like that. It was the first feeling I was like looking inside my body.
right.
And my body, here's my heart. And I actually was pumping. Pump, bump, bump, bump. How the heart pumps.
Yeah.
You know, it was really very not loud, but really small, like a small pump, pump. But it was a feeling, and every time I had those feelings, other things, I feel like my body, it's so relaxed. I feel like I'm leaving my body. I'm like floating in the air.
Yeah.
You know,
And
so
I mean,
this is the last 2 months I've been doing this. This is the feeling. So I figured too, when she was saying about meditation, because I always loved being in the woods, you know, walking through the woods, or you know, seeing flowers and all like that. So when she was telling me about different things, and it clicked. I probably didn't realize over my lifetime I was meditation.
Yeah.
You know, I was doing all that.
Right.
Then never realized.
Right.
So maybe that's part of how I got through an 8-hour operation.
Exactly. Exactly.
I was, you know, my body was strong enough to handle an 8-hour operation.
And now it's almost like you've been given, or before, like you said, you were meditating, but there was no language for it. Now you have a language, and now it's almost like it's been kicked up a notch. Now you're having these visions and experiences that you can articulate and you can define and say, I know what's happening now.
And she says that's an amazing thing that you can do that. You know, she says, you know, you got that feeling and you got that sun in your body. You can really do that. It's just a gift.
Yeah.
It's nice.
Yeah. So, okay. I mean, just so inspiring. We can go in a million different directions. Tell me more about the Wage Hope and how they work, or how people can get interested in that if they have loved ones that have cancer, if they have cancer themselves.
Well, the Pancreatic Cancer Action Network, they have offices in California. That's the main office. They have one in New York. And they are the ones that are in charge of all of it. And throughout the nation, you know, there are organizations like we belong to called Wage Hope that have monthly meetings. So it's like the Pancreatic Cancer Action Network oversees everything, but the individual meetings, you know, are held. Like we belong to the Northern New Jersey one. Now today there are 2 Purple Strides going on, one in Orlando and one in Philadelphia, I think.
Purple Stride is the walking and the running?
That's the main thing, to raise money, you know, and awareness. And but they have, you know, as Bruce said, they're just very helpful. And mainly when we're there, our meetings are about what more can we do to raise awareness, to help people to raise money, because pancreatic cancer is so low in funding.
Sure.
You know, it doesn't get the money that, you know, breast cancer
I was just going to say,
gets,
breast
or
cancer
lung
gets
cancer.
more of the
You know,
attention.
high up there.
But pancreatic cancer is, where is it ranked? It's
right now it's 3rd. It's expected to be the 2nd leading cause of cancer deaths by next year. It's gone up that far. And only 9% live past 5 years presently. So I mean 9%, you know, and that's only up 1%. Over the past couple of years.
But that can change.
You know?
I mean, that's the idea
and they
here.
right. That's why they keep pushing for it. I mean, the money they get from, you know, the walks, I think it's like 99% of it goes directly to research, and the other percent is to pay off, you know, some of the expenses and everything. But it's one of the best organizations as far as, you know, your money going directly into research.
So next Sunday, I thought it was Saturday, but next Sunday I will be there, and you have the largest group.
Last year, I mean, I think we had 26 in our group.
26,
and this year we have something like 40.
That's
counting
amazing.
Kids. It's just amazing.
Amazing how
I mean, it's doubled.
My goal is to get this podcast out, you know, sometime this week before that, so that, you know, people can listen to it, you know, before the event. And how can somebody donate or support?
They can even come that day, but if not, they can donate to the Pancreatic Cancer Action Network.
Okay, so just directly through them. Okay,
and if they wanted us to, Bruce is team to get credit. They just mention, please credit Bruce Hill.
Okay, that's what I was wondering. Is how did you guys?
Team at Pancong Hills.
Okay.
My sister just did that, in fact,
Yeah.
and I got notified. Got an email right away that she had made the donation to them. But to just go on their website and then to Purple Stride, and then it'll list the states. And so if somebody wanted to just donate for our team in New Jersey, they go on that way.
Now, another thing that grew out of this, and I saw only briefly, I saw a couple videos where you've been up speaking in front of groups of people.
Well, that's another thing I never liked doing.
And
Right.
I don't know if I had the the courage to do it, but now you can't keep me. I mean, I'll talk. And anyone, if I see people with dressed in purple, says wage hope or like that. I mean, to me, it's just everything that's happened to me. It's an honor for me to try to make a difference. Like that's what we're all here. Wage hope. It's trying to make a difference. Try to change people's lives. So if that means me standing up with 100 people and just telling my story, and one person, maybe one or two persons, may hear that, and then they may know a friend that's just got with pancreatic cancer, or someone is dealing with cancer. It doesn't matter if it's pancreatic cancer; it could be lung cancer or prostate. Cancer's cancer.
Well, and even take cancer out of it, right?
Yeah.
Somebody that is relatively healthy, that has nothing diagnosed, all of these same ideas apply. In fact, if there are people out there that would apply these ideas, it might prevent them from getting something.
True.
This is what you're saying is advice for anybody on how to live their life, thinking positively. Exercising, eating right, having the right attitude, helping others in whatever way that you can. You don't need the cancer to activate that, but for you, that's what it was.
Right.
I'm getting off topic, but continue.
No.
He spoke. The first time he spoke was at a town council meeting, because it was a year ago, because November is Pancreatic Cancer Month.
Right.
And they asked us in our Wage Hope group if we could get them to, the town, to have November 15th as Pancreatic Cancer Day in Pancong. Wow. And he went to the mayor by himself, and she agreed and set up the time for the meeting. And we went to the meeting, and that's the first time he got up in front of a group that I know of.
Was it challenging? Did it come natural?
Yeah, I tell you, I was nervous a little bit, but as I started, it just went away. And I just, the more I talked, the more I felt good about myself. That, maybe someone there or someone will tell somebody, and that's how it works.
Right.
Hey, this guy over here, you got to listen to this guy.
And then he spoke at
how inspiring a man is.
The senior meeting he spoke at. He spoke in D.C.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Yeah, they had us on.
Well, we didn't know.
We didn't know.
Televised again.
They had something to tell your story.
I didn't know they were going to call me up. I thought he was just going to go up there.
Well, see, that's fantastic,
Yeah.
though.
So tell your story, like that. And they were saying that they were getting us ready to go to Congress the next day, because depends on how big your group is. You might have maybe, I don't know, 30 minutes, not 30 minutes, 30 seconds to tell your story real quick.
And he did.
Sure.
So he spoke at meetings. Our congressmen and senators were, of course, not there, but their aides were there, and he spoke in all three offices. And
then they were telling me, Monday, you meet with everybody in this big room and everything. Was over 700 people, right? And they're telling you, he says, one of the most important things to get to the Congress people, talk about your grandchildren. Tell them why it's important that you need money for research, because I want to live, because I want to see my grandchildren grow up. I don't want to die. I said that's
personalize
why. To personalize everything.
Yeah. That makes sense.
One of the guys held
and they'll listen to you.
One of them held up a picture of his daughter's high school graduation and said when he was diagnosed, he never expected to be there. And he had just been there, like anything to personalize it. Because if they don't have a connection,
No.
They can't understand.
Well, and I mean, I'm just going to be cynical and say, a congressman's like, oh, well, grandchildren, those are future voters right there.
True. That's
Well,
true.
when
You don't
we-
run away, yes.
And then we knew that both of our senators were supportive and supportive of health care. And then they said, the one you have to convince, is Freeland-Heisted. And we went there and we got this whole story from his aides about how supportive he is. And of course he's going to vote for, health care. And then we read in the paper the next day that he voted against it.
Yeah,
So
see,
it's
well,
like you learn quickly that they tell you, what they want you to hear.
The situation now, I mean, in the world is so complicated, and even with Congress and everything that's going on, unfortunately you can't expect much, which is why it's so important for you to be operating on the ground level and person to person.
Right.
It's
I
nice to
agree.
try and make change from the
Changes.
top down,
Yeah.
but you're probably going to be more successful
Down the bottom.
Down-
Working. We're going to house to house, or going to wage hope meetings and doing what you can. That's what's going to make the difference.
Exactly. Exactly. Right.
Yeah, we'll get. The organization will get get practically what they need from Congress. But they said at the meeting in D.C., he said, we need all of you. Because they were saying that all the money that us raise, what did they say? It was about 16 or $18 million that they raised, just us going.
That's amazing.
And then the rest we get a percent. Then they try to get the rest what they need from Congress. So there's everybody across America is like what my wife and I are doing, going out and telling our story and getting the word out, and it all means it's so important.
Was there ever a point where did you ever have a dark moment? Did you ever, in the quiet hours?
Yes, there was a point that I was watching TV, and this lady, I don't know what stage she was a news reporter, and they had a story on her, and they were telling her about the story. It reminded me a lot about me, how you were brought up, you help people, blah, 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 and she got pancreatic cancer, and she died, and it bothered me a lot.
Okay.
I guess that was my down point.
That was your down point.
Yeah, and that really hit home.
But you didn't linger there.
No.
That's the secret.
That's the secret. And I said, okay, let's go.
Yeah, let's move on. Right?
Move on.
It's like I recognize that side of it,
Yes.
but I'm not going to dwell there because there's other things to be done.
There's other things to be done. Life is too short. You got to get out there and get off that chair and do your thing.
Right.
Help people.
Whatever it is, in whatever
Whatever.
capacity you can. Has this changed or strengthened your relationship with each other in any way? I mean, to me, obviously it has.
I think it's strengthened it because you have this bond that you can go on your way and be okay and be happy before, but when something like this hits with both of us, and then it's like, whoa.
Well, that's
I
a
could
real...
be gone tomorrow,
Yes.
Right.
and it's like all of a sudden little things aren't important anymore.
Right. So that's the real test.
And then when you're there, when I have to sit with him every other week for 4 hours
of
for chemo, and I know he would do the same thing, God forbid, if I needed it.
Absolutely, yeah.
It's like it changes your whole thinking and your attitude. It's like, every day is a gift, and we're fortunate. I think that we have each other and that we're going through this. I don't know how people do it who are alone.
Yeah, well,
because you see people who don't have family.
Yeah.
And you think, my God, how do they do it?
Well, I mean...
But I think it does strengthen your relationship.
And plus, too, what's important, too, I really, even though I'm positive attitude, I couldn't have got really through all this without my wife.
Sure.
She's my
and
other
I'll
half,
tell people,
she's my rock.
I'll tell people that
it's
I've told Debbie that I don't know if I could go through it with someone else who might be negative
Yeah.
or always down, and where he makes it easier going through all of this.
Yes. I see what you're saying. Because if he was constantly, that would just drag you down.
Then it drags you down,
Yes.
where it's the opposite with him.
Yep.
I understand exactly what you're saying on my side of things, which I'm not going to get too into, but that was the dynamic on the other side. Is my father, he didn't go out. He didn't have a support group, and my mother tends to be a little bit on the negative side. I mean, she was there for him, but I mean, there was a lot of times where I felt like if he would just turn off the news and meet some new people or be involved in something, you have to have something to keep you going.
Right. Yeah.
And other people that get cancer, they want to be, and it's I understand both sides. They want to be by themselves. They don't want anyone to tell. They don't want anyone to know that I have cancer. I'm the opposite.
They don't want
everybody, because I look at it this way. It's very powerful when you're going through cancer, having a positive family, the power of the prayer in God, and and plus the positive attitude. All those things mean so much, to get you through life.
Regina's going through chemo. She's so nauseous. Does anyone have any recommendations on what I should do? I feel so sad.
Oh.
That's just one of many.
Right.
People
and
have already
you read something like that, and you're just like, well, I have to talk to that person.
Right.
I need to let them know that there's hope and that there's
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes.
It means a lot. Even when I came home, after the operation, and it was so important that people writing these wonderful things on email. Was it Chris's website and
Chris did a nice job.
all that, and
Facebook,
Jen's and Facebook,
when he was in the hospital. Chris,
and all that helped me a lot too, because every day people were writing these really things. Never give up.
I think that's
nice
right.
comments.
Like
That's what helped me too.
Yeah.
positive side
Yeah.
to Facebook.
I was just going to say, so all you people out there that are hating on Facebook, because there's two sides to
like
everything,
my sister,
right?
and
It does serve a
does.
positive function too.
I
Right?
know we got prayers from those people.
Oh, yeah.
And I know, when he was in the hospital, every comment that Chris got, I read to him.
Yeah.
And that makes you feel good. And
I don't know if you see those things on Facebook, where people, the tragedy will happen, and somebody will say, well, thoughts and prayers for so-and-so. And then you have the people that make fun of that.
Oh, yes.
They
I
make fun of
haven't
the
seen that.
thoughts and prayers. Like, what is that going to do? Well, sometimes, you can't
my
you can't
goodness.
save the world.
No.
Yeah.
But thoughts and prayers do
something.
affect change in the world
Yes.
in some way.
And if somebody tells me, please, pray for so-and-so, even if I don't know them, I do it right. If I say, I'll pray or whatever, I make sure I do it right then.
Right.
Because I thought, geez, I don't want to forget.
Whether it really does anything or not, well, take the chance and just
Right,
pray
exactly.
anyway. Because
Put it
because
out there.
Yeah, but again, it goes back into what somebody believes,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah.
Right.
And no matter what, you're going to have people that think that's crazy. That's
Yes.
only a percentage of the people. So those are the people that I don't like to be with.
Sure. Well, because their
And
energy is
they'll
going to
put
affect
you
you.
down.
Yes,
Yes.
exactly. Right.
I want to be with positive people.
Mm-hmm.
It's like anything in life. That some people that they've been bankrupt 3 or 4 times, but they came back.
Yeah.
But I want to see. Yes, they went bankrupt. It was a learning point, but they it's like having cancer, having a positive thing, and you turn your life around. The same thing to guys. They come out of being bankrupt 3 times, then the next thing, something hits them, and boom, they're worth hundreds and millions of dollars.
Right.
That's all part of life.
Every
like that.
mistake
Every
is
mistake,
simultaneously an opportunity.
opportunity.
If you can see it from that. If
That's
you
a
can
good
flip
way
it,
of putting it.
you need to flip it.
Because as
That's right.
terrible as this is, it's an opportunity,
It's an opportunity.
to do good for other people.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
for sure. For sure.
So let's talk about, this would be episode 14 for me, and I had Nikki on episode 11, and she's been doing the quantum healing hypnosis therapy for a couple months now, every Wednesday and Sunday, and you were one of the people, or one of her clients,
Yeah.
And when I mention it to people, some are very skeptical, and even I was skeptical in the beginning.
Too.
But what I've seen from you and others, just the reaction. Can you talk about your experience? Look, for those that don't remember, it's she puts you under hypnosis.
Yes.
And you're basically visiting past lives, future lives, or your higher self in order to gain information or knowledge. I guess that would be the simplest way to put it. What was your experience doing the quantum healing hypnosis?
The experience I never had in my life. What an experience. I mean, everything about it was just wonderful. And she had this wonderful way. She would first talk about, for the first, half an hour or whatever, about your life, what you went through, and with cancer, with other things. And she puts things as you go to sleep, and while you're seeing things and you're saying, and then she would say, I feel like I see the clouds. And she says, well, tell me about the clouds. And then I would say, well, and then I get another thought, because everything she says, wherever your thought comes through, say it.
Yes.
Just say it.
Yes.
Like that. Then I said my next thing was that I felt like I was in heaven. Mm-hmm. And then she says, well, tell me about heaven. How is it beautiful? I says, the clouds came to my mind first thing. The clouds are so much bigger and round and all different shapes, and then from there it just went from she said, well, that's beautiful. Can you tell me a little bit more? And then everything came through. My mother and my father and all my loved ones, Linda's mother and father, Aunt Kay and Uncle Sal, all these loved ones that I miss every day.
I remember Uncle Sal.
Uncle Sal.
Yeah, I remember him. Yeah, absolutely.
Uncle Sal. And I only knew Aunt Kay for a short time, and she got
Debbie's
sick.
mother.
Debbie Calderon's mother.
Okay.
And but what I remember of her, she was just a wonderful, caring person. She would do anything to help you. That's the feeling I got. But it was just doing all these things to remember, that I remember all this, like that. And
when you say remember, what are you remembering?
I remember all the good times that I had with Linda's mother and father, and my mother, and Uncle Sal, and all my brothers.
And what he had told me when we talked about it is that he didn't see them face to face, which I thought was interesting.
Yeah.
He said, yet he knew, he sensed who they were.
Who they were.
And
Right.
he knew, even though they didn't talk to him directly, you said that they told you they were happy.
They're
you
happy.
were there and they were praying for you or something.
And
that my mother was cooking. And
yeah,
I
she
said,
was in
well,
the kitchen. It
How
looked
do
like
you
a kitchen.
know?
Okay.
It
I
looked
said,
like
how
a
did
kitchen.
you know she was cooking if you didn't see her?
So you
I smelled like a smell.
He could smell it.
So you
could
just
smell.
knew, just based on these, you could actually smell
I can smell it, yeah.
it. Okay.
And then, we're going on about heaven and all like that. And I said, well, heaven is just a really peaceful place. Everybody's having a good time. And it reminded me, one time I was thinking, going through all that, there was like a long table. And the table could have been everybody that passed away and are up in heaven.
Right.
That, sitting at this table, talking, and it's so quiet. I noticed people smiling. It looked like they were smiling. Mm-hmm. It was just a peaceful, happy time.
Did you? So you felt like? I remember you telling me this, that they didn't see you.
Right, they didn't see me.
They didn't know you were there, or they knew you were there.
Yeah, I guess in a way they knew me there, because they says, well, he says, we can't wait to see you again.
Right. Okay.
Like that, and then started coming down. When I started coming down from heaven, and then she said, well, how does it feel when you're coming down from heaven? Well, I feel like I'm in a forest now. Well, tell me about it. I said, well, I'm surrounded with rabbits and all the different birds and all the wildlife, and it was just a great feeling. She would be going on about different things and all like that, and one thing she would say, well, tell me about the bird, tell me about the animals. And what came to mind was a rabbit. I had a rabbit in my hand. It felt so soft, that. It felt so great,
Does that connect to your love of animals?
Love of animals, yeah. And then, let's go back to heaven. I forgot. One thing, my thought.
I have no problem going back to heaven. We can stay there as long as you want.
Then, with the pets.
Yes.
As I was a professional pet sitter all the years, and I always tell people that when I go, I'm going to be in heaven with all my pets.
Yeah.
So when I was in heaven, that's another thing. My pets that I used to watch, that they lost, it hurt me a lot, even though they weren't my pets. I felt like they're my own.
Sure, absolutely.
And even my own, like that. And what was it? 3 of them, my dog? Well, who was it? I think Neko, Scout, and Zoe said something that, they were smiling to me, like saying, we'll see each other one day.
Oh.
That, we'll see.
Yeah.
So I always said that, pets are wonderful. They do so much for you.
Absolutely.
Didn't you say somebody said you'll come home again, or we'll see you when you come back home? Something about coming back home. I'd have to read the notes that you wrote.
Did you? Let me just real quick. Did you get the recording?
Yeah.
You have it.
Well, it's not a record. Well, it's on. She emailed it to me. I have that. Yeah. So it really is a recording.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You have the audio file. Have you gone back and listened to it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We listened to it, and then I tried to sit down and write up. Well, I think Doug most of it, and then he would fill things in, things that he forgot to tell her, that he experienced.
So I'm sorry. So go back to somebody told you we're going to see you again.
Something about coming. You felt like you were at home, and
I felt like know what it was? It was my brother and Roger.
Bob and Roger.
Roger was like you must say he was another. Instead of having 5 brothers, we had 6 brothers.
Right.
He was like another brother.
Okay.
Like that. And they said, well, we'll see us. We'll see again. We'll be together one day.
Right.
Something like that.
So at that point, it would seem like that should dispel any fears of,
That's what I said.
We're all going to get to that point.
Right.
We're all going to get to that point.
Yeah.
And so at this point for you, if it does get to that point, there should, that moment. Do you ever contemplate like what that moment of transition will be like?
No.
Why focus on that?
Right.
Because that it's waiting there on the other side.
Well, that's what I said to him just recently. I said, you hear a lot, at least I have, and I've read a lot of stories of people who have had near-death experiences. And it's like they all have that same theme of what it's like, and they all seem to say that they didn't want to return.
Yeah.
And then when they did, that they're no longer afraid of death. Maybe afraid of how they're going to die, but not afraid of death. And I said that to him. I said, you must feel that way now. That you really know firsthand that there's something, even though I believe it, that it's like he experienced that there's something.
And it's so beautiful,
and not to take the fear out.
It's so beautiful, the blue skies up there and all that. It's a beautiful place, peaceful.
Yeah.
It's like no other place in the no other place in the world. No other place to be.
You know that line, and I don't know if Doug made it up or if he read it somewhere, but it always resonates in my mind that you got to die before you die, so that when you die, you don't die.
Oh, that's
Have you ever
a good
heard
one.
that?
Yeah,
I heard it. Yeah, they had it. Maybe it was a different thing about maybe not death and dying. It was something about sports. Something you have to go through it to realize or appreciate something back and forth.
Yeah, and that's the general idea. That's the general idea of just getting a taste of that experience, so that when you actually get there, there's no fear.
Right.
Yeah.
Doug always has said that Bruce is on a higher level spiritually.
Well, yeah,
Anyway.
that seems obvious.
Even before that, because when everything started, I'd say to Doug, I just don't understand it. I'm afraid, I'm nervous, worried about him. I said, and he's getting up and, going to the gym. Even when we heard the first time about the mass in his stomach, the next day he was still, all right, now I'm going to the gym.
Right,
Yeah.
just
Doug
not
said
letting
he's on another
not letting
level.
it take over in any way,
I'm
shape,
taking
or
over.
form.
I refuse. The bottom line, I refuse to let this cancer kill me.
Good for you.
There's no way.
Yeah.
There's no way, and no
And
way.
he's all,
I just
I
can't.
told,
It's just not me.
Yeah.
I told
Yeah.
my cousin, he's always,
It is. I'm not-
when he meditates, and he always says he sees the white lights, or when we were at chemo, and he said it the other day, I said, if I'm with you when you're dying, and you tell me you're seeing the white light, I said, I'm going to just think you're meditating.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
It's you just appreciate. You just appreciate the days you're here.
Yeah.
Yeah. You just it's you just got to carry on and just do your thing and helping people, because the man upstairs knows that you're helping people. I always felt this way. When you're doing something good for people, the Lord, God up there has a special place for you.
Sure.
It's
Sure.
just, I always thought that way. That's all I believe in. Sometimes what are you gonna do? You just have to keep fighting a good fight.
Yeah, exactly. Do you have anything else that you would like to share? Any advice for people? Any final thoughts?
Well, yeah. It's just that when you come down with an awful disease, it doesn't matter if it's cancer. It could be anything. You lose your child, or you lose your wife, or something happens, right? You just have to keep on helping people. There's a reason for everything that happens to people. Sometimes we don't realize, why does a child at 3 years old have cancer?
Yeah.
You don't really think, that why should children get cancer? It's
Right.
not right for children to get cancer. They have a lot of years. They have the beginning of their life, and it's same thing, when you're getting up in age, or you get an awful thing like this, and I look at it this way. It's just not about cancer. It's about so many other things.
Yes.
As you grow up, how you take care of your body. I always say, if you can stay, sure, you're going to sometimes you'll get cancer no matter what. But if you can stay away from, the cigarettes, the drugs, and what else?
The foods,
The foods and all those things. If
the
you
negative
can,
thinking.
the negative thinking.
That's a biggie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you can handle all that, do that all your life. I really think if things like, everybody's different, but for me, being positive like that all my life, cancer came to me like, okay, it's just another thing
Right.
that I have to deal with.
Yes,
You know?
exactly.
Let's take care of it, and let's go. Life goes on.
Yeah.
You know?
Don't turn your back on the demon. Just
Right.
face it and make
Yeah.
peace with it and make it your ally.
That's just me. Other people, there's so many other people in this world think differently.
Well, hopefully,
You know?
and not hopefully because it is happening. That's the idea. The theme running through this is that you are an inspiration to others and getting others to think differently.
Well, I appreciate that. It means a lot. It means a lot. And so, what do we have left?
Right.
In life,
Yeah.
like that. It's just like I'm thankful that I have a second chance in life.
Yes.
And that means a lot. There's so many other people, and like this year, we're talking about with pancreatic cancer, 53,000 people. I don't know if it's all in the world, but in the United States, I think it's like 53,000 people are going to get this awful disease.
Right.
43,000 of those are going to die.
Mm-hmm.
And then leaves you like 10%.
Yeah.
Like that. So, I look at it, you have to make a change in life. You got to get out there and help people. That's what's wonderful with our organization. That we're out there helping people.
Right.
That means everything.
Well,
so
You'll hear a story. You were there for the speeches last year? I think.
Did you get? No, I don't. Did you talk last year on stage?
No. But the one from our group did.
Yes, that I remember.
Yes.
And this year, somebody not from our group, but from one of the other Wage Hope groups, another survivor is going to talk.
Okay.
But, I always find the survivors inspiring.
Yeah.
In general.
Well, I find you both incredibly
And
inspiring.
we had there last
That's
year.
an honor. I thought
last year was my first time, first time there.
Right.
And they had over 30 survivors there.
Yeah.
That was my first time
So we'll
of
see how
meeting
many this year.
those many survivors.
Right.
And another thing we were at, I like to go back to survivors when we're in D.C. There for 3 days.
Mm-hmm.
Monday, first thing you have breakfast with all the survivors, and then the other people go in this other room that I didn't know at that time. It's a huge big room. That's where everyone meets. But I felt, being in that room for that breakfast, there was 100 survivors. It started 10 years ago. What was it, 30 people, I think they said?
They said they had 10 survivors
10 survivors.
First year.
First
and
year.
It kept growing.
It kept growing. But the way... And when I was in there talking to everybody, it was at a round table. Everybody was talking telling a little bit about their story. It was so inspiring. And when I left there, I felt like I was in a room with the 100 greatest people in the world.
Right.
That's the feeling I got. And that whole day, I was so excited. And when we pulled up that Sunday, when we walked in the lobby, and I saw all these people with purple on, I started getting excited.
Sure.
I didn't think I stopped.
Yeah.
Being excited until we started leaving. When you left Tuesday, it was just a wonderful experience, and a couple of volunteers that go there all the time. He says it's inspiring.
And a few years ago, you never even, this was not even a
God.
thought. You never
never
knew
thought.
that this was possible, to have those kinds of feelings and to touch those kinds of lives. And
That's right.
Absolutely. We're both. Yeah.
And when you see other survivors, it gives you that
really
thought in your mind,
does.
well, I'm can do that too.
I'm so happy
Yeah.
to see these people. It's just like I've known these people all my life, and they're strangers. And see somebody that's just,
Yeah.
it's just great. That's what's part. The thing too. It's what's part about this America. How great America really is. How people help people that are there for you. It's what's about America.
Yeah.
So that's what makes America how great it is. You look at every major thing that happens. All over the world. The Americans are there to help.
Well, that's true.
All
That's
over.
the best qualities
Best
of
quality
America.
America.
Right? Yeah.
And it's just like everything. Like next week, November 12th is our walk. Like that. And we're predicting. Hopefully, we'll have over 3,000, and hopefully that will raise.
Incredible.
Yeah, we'll raise about. We want to raise over 400,000. 400,000, and I think we'll do it.
Bruce,
Thank you.
thank you so much.
This was an honor.
Well,
When you
I
said
gotta
you
talk
wanted-
more.
I said, when did we talk to Doug? Oh, he called Thursday. And I said, do you know what we're doing Saturday? And he goes, what are you doing Saturday? He says, wait a minute. He says, oh, yeah, I know. He says, Mark. And I said, isn't that something? I go, Mark wants to talk to us for his podcast.
Yeah, no, it's been in the back of my mind for.
Oh,
for
good.
for
That's
a
great.
while.
No, that's
It's an
good.
honor.
Get the word out there, baby.
Thank
Well,
you.
that's the idea. That's the whole idea of the
That's it.
podcast: is talk to people that are inspiring, and hopefully other people will listen. And just what's the line? There's a Peter Gabriel song. You can blow out a
Like
candle,
Blow out
but you
the
can't blow out the fire.
Something
Once
like
the
that,
flame
yeah.
begins to catch,
Yeah,
the wind will blow it
yeah,
higher.
that sounds
that's
great.
a good one.
Yeah.
Thank
Alright.
you.
Well, thank you guys very much.
geez,
Appreciate
no
it.
problem.
Okay, and I'll see you on Sunday.
Yeah.
let's be real. None of this is real.
What's your advice for people in life?
My advice is to stay strong, be helpful, be smart, be brave, be powerful, be kind, and be loving to everyone, even your pets.
People are like, oh, wouldn't you get lonely when all your loved one dies? Like, no, you get new loved ones.
You know, we really don't know what's in store for us. We really don't know.
Well, would you want to know?
Well, no.
No.
Let's say something bad happened to you. Move on. It already happened. Just move on to the better things in life.
I hope it's really not just us. Right. And everyone else is like, self-created eternal hell. No. Every waking moment is a joyous experience of growth and opportunity. I find myself totally spiritual centered and at peace with the balance between me and the rest of the universe.
What a heck of time!
After all that, they won the game.